Welcome back, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome to another episode of Marvel Future Fight. So yeah, the trailer that you just saw there was for a character most people probably will not know. I mean, to be honest with you, I barely knew very much about her. That is Gamora. So essentially what we are getting with this new update, does it look like it's going to be a complete story, which I guess if you look at the way the game has been developed over the past few months, with like the Spider-Man, the somewhat feeling incomplete No Way Home update, the incomplete Hellfire Gala update, and now what we seemingly are going to probably have an incomplete or a mosh pit of stories being told here, whether it's the because this story is completely different from the old King Thanos story. This is a Infinity War story. So if you guys remember, we got the Infinity War costumes a while back, and it was like exploration of different universes where there were amalgamations of characters and stuff like that. So basically what we have here is Gamora. This character was known as Requiem in the comic books, and her identity, or I guess you could say her identity, yeah, the identity of the character was kind of like shrouded in mystery throughout the whole, not the whole series, but a good portion of the series, when it was finally revealed that it was Gamora Zenhuberi Ben Titan from Earth 752A. So essentially this Gamora is a Gamora who actually was fed up with Thanos' bullshit, and she sought the Infinity Gems herself. So she got them herself, and she basically ends up killing Thanos and trying to remake the universe and full time in history and everything else in between. The question is how good of a character this will be. Let's take a look at Gamora really quickly over here. So if we went into here, let's Gamora. I love being able to test this thing out for these episode reviews. So this is Gamora right here. We basically had a few uniforms for Gamora. Well, I can't say a few because they weren't really a few. I mean, you're really basically looking at this iteration of Gamora that we got. It's almost the same way that we had Drax, where we got the Guardians of the Galaxy uniform, then we got the old Guardians of the Galaxy 2 update, and then we got the all new different Guardians uniform here, where she kind of looks like Moondragon a little bit, in my opinion, right? Which was her coolest looking uniform, in my opinion. The question is, what's going to happen for this character? To be honest with you, it's cool to see that these characters are finally getting reworks. Why they're getting reworks so far ahead of the Guardians of the Galaxy release, I don't know, but they're basically, this is the bad part, is that they're going to get another uniform in the next year, because the Guardians of the Galaxy movie is supposed to be released in 2023, I believe it is. So questionable that they're getting uniforms this release, especially characters that's so bad. Like Gamora and Drax were two of the most terrible characters in the game. I mean, like the toilet bowl series of tier list rankings was there. That's where you would find Gamora and Drax. The question will be, for these characters to even be meaningful outside of a uniform, is whether or not they are going to receive awakenings or tier 3s. So like, I cannot imagine a scenario where they're introducing these characters and they're not going to get awakenings. So if this is going to lean more towards Guardians of the Galaxy, it's because you basically got two people intrinsically tied to Thanos. So Thanos should be getting his uniform update. For old King Thanos, I don't for a second believe that we're not going to see the old King Thanos uniform. Then we have another character here, as you can see, intrinsically tied to Thanos, the same way Drax is. Now Gamora obviously is the daughter of Thanos. She's not really his daughter, but she is the daughter of Thanos who rebelled against him, you know. So the good thing that I'll say about this is I'm a little upset that we're not going to probably get the Fallen one. From the way this update is seemingly going, it seems like it's more of a tie to Thanos than it is anything. But if it is just a tie to Thanos, the good thing is that we could potentially be seeing the Magus, or, you know, Adam Warlock, which would be absolutely awesome, because Adam Warlock was one of those characters that we all asked for updates previously for. So that would probably encompass the entirety of the heroes that we basically have, because we could see 3 uniforms for existing characters, you know, Thanos, Gamora, and Drax, and then we could possibly see the tier 3 of a character like Magus, and or excuse me, I always call him Magus, but yeah, you guys know he's Adam Warlock. So I the thing that I like about Adam Warlock being introduced, if he were to be introduced at this point, I'd find that as a more spicy you know, sell for this update than anything, even though he's a native T2, is that they've already kind of worked the mechanics in terms of transformations for characters, so they could potentially go 2 ways with this, right? Where they could go straight up Adam Warlock with a costume right now, just to kind of boost him up and give him a T3, and they could possibly come out with a movie level costume for him later on. It's going to all depend on the mechanics. Like a character like Mephisto is the perfect example of how they could do a Magus like character, where essentially they kind of, you feel like they kind of tested the limits with the character already, where when you use his third skill represents a transformational skill. So he basically goes from being a super villain damage dealer to a superhero damage dealer. So like if you look right here, you can see it increases the basic damage dealt to the supervillain faction by 30%. The effect can't be removed, and then if you switch those, you can see he has a Dark Awakening, so now he increases basic damage dealt to the superhero faction by 30%. So typically if you're fighting bosses, you know, you obviously want to be in one form versus the other, and this is how that ability is used. Along with that, some of his skills are also changed inside here. We would potentially see the same kind of build mechanic with a character like Adam Warlock if he's introduced, because we know that he has 2 sides to him, the Adam Warlock side and then the Magus side. It would be the best way of introducing him versus having him have a costume for both characters, which is another route they could go. But for now, it looks more like we're getting tie-ins to Thanos more than we are getting in any individual stories. I'm not so excited about this. Gamora's never really been one of my favorite characters in the comic books, so you know, like, yeah, it's cool to see she's going to get a beefiest, and this should be her beefiest of all power-ups that she ever receives in this game, so hopefully it's reflective. I mean, you know, Requiem pretty much like destroyed the shit out of people, you know, like this was a world-changing level character, so it'd be interesting to see what they intend to do with her and how they introduce her. I'm looking forward to it, but you know, not as much as not for the reasons that related directly to the character. I'm looking to the possibilities, the same way I was looking to the possibilities of what Drax in that series, you know, old King Thanos represented in that series. In terms of that, Thanos, I'm 100% excited about, as long as he gets the old King Thanos uniform. Drax, Gamora, they're not really, you know, they're not moving my needle as much, but you know, I'm excited for what they possibly represent. So let's see. Fallen one, Magus. I'm speculating on these 2 characters mostly because, like I said, Gamora and Drax aren't, you know, my favorites. All right, guys, until next time, peace.